Kunsthall Oslo is pleased to present this talk and happening, looking at how club culture can function as a place to express identity, belonging, and resistance, but also as a place to create solidarity and challenge norms. My name is Ifrah Osman, and I work here at Kunsthall Oslo. I will also be the one to moderate the talk at Ali Gallefoss exhibition, decoration, and construction. In this informal setting, we invited a group of DJs and producers here from Oslo, but also from Paris, to come together to share their thoughts and experiences as well as their music. We titled the roundtable talk Salon in the Clurb we all them. Hey!
Hello.
Hello. I'm so glad that you are here for this roundtable talk. And we have Crystallmess with us right now. Morstaq here, Broodoo Ramses, Nefertiti, dark0wa, Global Drama, and Nora Mamdu. My name is Ifrah Osman, and I work at Kunsthall Oslo as a program developer. And it was very important for us to create this space for you guys, so you could share, be open, also connect. DJing, like how did that happen? What did you pick up first? Was it the equipment, the music? How was that journey for you?
It felt like a real huge project because I felt like at the time the equipment was more expensive. Then like I was talking to Teki, and Teki was like, but your approach is already the approach of a DJ. You already, if you're constantly like mismatching and putting stuff together and creating parallels between songs, and if you have a capacity to world build, you are a DJ by essence, because, and also with vast knowledge of music. So I was like, for me, like being a DJ is it's a mystic figure. So I was like, I don't know if I'm allowed to like sit at the table like we are, like, which is like kind of like feel almost like supernatural power. You know, in France, electronic music has a history of bourgeoisie and of like really high class society. People don't know, but I love the Daft Punk. But I'm French, like it makes sense. I love Phoenix.
Even before, like the 20s, like musique concrète, all these like really bourgeois people who literally kind of like inventing sample is from France, like and nobody knows them. Like
exactly, the Daft Punk and stuff, they come from like this very, very like conservative and extremely rich city called like Versailles, and was translating through other classes, through MTV or whatnot. But as far as like equipment and technology and sharing of knowledge, as far as like producing, DJing and stuff, the knowledge were barely shared on that side. It had to come from the hip hop side. Yeah. So it was hard, like being kind of like a weird kid, and especially like if you're queer, if you're at the margin, you just didn't know where to go, because you will go to the electronic music side and it's like,
quiet.
It's kind of like very homogeneous. Yeah. Everybody's like, you're the only black person. You don't know if you're being looked at for who you are. Everybody's rich, you're not. You go to the hip hop crowd, it's like, bro, why you have a piercing? Why you talking like a girl? Like, I'm gonna punch you. Read like, I don't know, but, and it's okay, but it's like, and then it's like, if you're a girl, it's like, why do you even want to do that? So it's like, you don't really know where to situate yourself. And I felt like today, you don't have to pick and choose. I felt like we kind of like created our own thing.
Yeah, we talked about that, also creating your own spaces. But do you also feel like when you started as DJs that it was very closed off, as Crystal mentioned?
I struggled a lot with, I think, especially in Norway, they needed to put DJs in a box. As a black person, and maybe in what you can call an alt black person, it was like, oh yeah, so you definitely should do hip hop. You play hip hop. Like I generally don't do that. Like, I mean, I'm more into the electronic scene, and then I struggled with trying to put so emphasis on like I play experimental. And then like, no, but I fucks with hip hop, I fucks with several kind of genres. So I had like a time period, I remember, I think it was 2016, we were like, yeah, Miriam, you should play, I started with jungle. and footwork, and I grew up like with UK garage, and when I went to clubs, since I wasn't legally allowed to be there, but was I went to clubs, like period.
Yeah, we had to do work.
We had to do. Exactly. I saw all of these like old school MCs and DJs, and I saw a different kind of community that I never seen in Oslo. And when I started to play here, I wanted to implement like that kind of vibe, and that was just not. I didn't think it wasn't even. People were not open to it.
But also, when you're young, you want money, then you have to cater to the crowd and just being scared of being yourself, because how will people perceive you? Like you said, like, okay, you go to hip hop community, okay, but you have piercings. Why do you have big ass platform shoes? Why is your hair red? It's just like, oh, okay, maybe I have to adjust myself. And then if you adjust yourself, you also adjust the art you're trying to show, if that makes sense. I think it was 2016 when I picked up like DJ equipment, but before that I was just like singing and producing like in my room in the north, like studying and like doing stuff. But my uncle, he produced like jungle music in the 90s, so always when I was in London, he had like so much equipment. So I think from I was a kid that I knew that like that's what I want to do. In the beginning, I didn't have the most expensive equipment, so I actually seeked out getting gigs early, not because I was like, oh, I want to show, but because I want to practice on the bigger stuff, and I don't have money for that. I'm like so young.
Global Drama, how did you pursue DJing and producing?
I don't know if I've ever been like, okay, I want to pursue it. It felt like just hanging out with my friend Adams at basement after football practice. Sort of, I remember as a group we were like, let's pirate Ableton and like try to mix and match things. So I see it as a collage of like things we like and just put it together. It wasn't until like I went to art school where I could see it as a disciplinary practice, where it sort of made sense to, okay, you can create something and sort of have a vision for it. My thing is I always want to recall a certain experience or like a certain, the salon that my aunties used to do their hair, or like the radio station at the local, you know, it's just an experiment forever.
What about you, Nora?
Well, growing up, my father owned a nightclub, so he used to have a lot of DJs come like sleep on the couch that was DJing at the club. And yeah.
That's amazing.
It was a lot of like.
Yeah, it's really cool.
It was a lot of like music around me. It was a lot of different music because of where my family is from. Fast forward to like 2013, I think, or something. I was in this dance group, and one of my friends from there, she had gone to this DJ course and knew something. So she taught me, and we started DJing together. And at that time, I wasn't aware of it. It was more something we did for fun, but I really enjoyed it, and it gave me like a sense of home, and I could like express my love for music through that, and I've been hooked ever since. Yeah.
raise your hand if you've ever been super excited about a gig only to go home and ask yourself what happened.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Everybody?
Me, like, personally, for example, like, it's not necessarily like what happened, but it's more like, you know, like you go with the preparation or understanding of what the crowd is gonna be, and you play and it's totally different. So you like, okay, you know what, let me just go freestyle, let me play for the actual people that I know and what they're about, etc., and see the switch just from this. And yeah, like, that's the kind of girl I would be like, oh, what happened? Like, you know what I mean? And even like, you know, all the tiredness would just go away because you feel so galvanized by the energy.
A good motivator, I think, is like when you see your community represented on a dance floor. That could immediately change to a place where you find inspiration. Sometimes you get booked for a specific genre, and then it doesn't reflect the crowd that's already sort of established within that venue or their regulars. And it can be a bit jarring if people expect a certain thing, but then they're like, oh, what you know, what's this? You know, especially like in queer or black communities. It's like, if I see, you know, a certain music that I'm playing is represented on the dance floor, it's really like a best way to tune in. And then kind of invite everybody along to see how cool it could be, you know.
What gives you energy also transcends to the crowd, and like I like sometimes
yeah, exactly.
Sometimes when it goes good, but yeah, I like prepping like the vision for the night, maybe like how I want the crowd to feel, and I try to prep accordingly to that feeling, and then you have to transcend in that feeling, and then they will also like feel whatever you were trying to like.
Because they're not always receptive, so you gotta sort of.
They have to be. But then you have a backup vision. If this vision doesn't go, this vision has to go. You know, I don't know.
I used to prep like much more in the beginning of my career, and I used to like be very particular. I felt like trapped in, and then I would lash out and like try to do something else. Like, but lash out like, okay, like in the beginning I used to play a lot of hip hop, so I was like, this is what we're going to do. We need more hip hop in this city. Seeing that like people want something that's more familiar, I was like, okay, then I'm going to go the other way. And like every time trying to test something new, I'm still learning to try to find ways to prep like technical stuff, but in a way that gives me freedom to play in the moment, and have like my safe like types of transitions if I'm like unsure, and then I can just like vibe and play if I feel like, okay, this is working.
You have the technical aspect of it, but also conceptually I feel like sometimes you already know the kind of type of environment you want to design sound-wise. And I think when you come that far, you don't really, at least I don't stress so much about how well things, in terms of like technically. I feel like sometimes it can be very thriving to be in the chaos of the concept. So in that sense, you kind of have to let those things go, you know.
But this is the moment when, you know, like when you're in the lineup and there's nobody like you, when I would be like, okay, you know what, I'm gonna go eat. I'm gonna propose you exactly what I'm about. You're gonna eat what I'm giving it to you, and like that's it. And it's super important because, like, you know, like when you say like there's not that much hip hop like in the city. Like I feel like, for example, me when I started to DJ, it was really because I felt like there was not enough like black queer
music.
DJs who listen to electronic music in the city, like in some ways, and like even the intersection between the cultures that were interesting in, making a perspective from it, you know, and like trying to propose the thing to people. And honestly, like it's scary in the beginning because like you're like, who's actually gonna fuck with it, you know, you know what I mean? But at the end, it's also like not something that you can control. Like if people are receptive to it, it's because of them, you know, like you're just proposing whatever you want and everybody will get it, you know, the girls will get it, you know.
100%.
At the end of the day, it's that, you know.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Like trying to create the space that you also want to be a part of and also vibe and also give and also get something. Like it's about how you feel when you're in those spaces and how that music makes you feel, and you just want to share that. You know, creating those spaces where we feel like the title of this talk too, where you feel like, okay, this is something that feels like home, that feels familiar, that feels like, okay, this is my people. And back to your question earlier about like the gigs that doesn't feel that good, that's the times where you like really try to bring that and don't feel like you've, you know, succeeded in some type of way.
winning like that, moving like that, hitting like that. The melody is fat. Yo, I'm on the energy source, the cosmic force with prodigy, flipping astrology.
I also want to pick it up from to you, Nefertiti, because you have been in the scene since late 2000s. You introduced Swana sound.
It came from a state of passion because I felt like the scene of Oslo didn't have that sound at all. So it was more about, okay, let's get with it. I'm gonna make it because I also need that space.
Yes.
I didn't have like the thoughts or I want those people to come. I was like, I'm gonna start somewhere and we'll see what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And then, when you start to play, you get to meet new people. The ball starts to roll, things happen.
And what do you think about the community today, the DJ community?
Oh my God! I love it. It's so big, and it's fantastic to see and to read about it. It's like wow. And this was also actually my kind of dream and my vision when I started to. I was like, we have to get big, and I hope people,
There's definitely more visibility that kind of came and goes, especially like post-pandemic, because you have like more visible DJs of color or different, queer people, but it doesn't mean that it's part of like, are you influencing how things are structured in terms of like, there's a power structure that kind of still upholds, like you're booked, yes, but you're not part of dictating what's important or what's good or what's contemporary.
Yeah, how is that in the DJ community, like the power structure? Who dictates what?
Exactly.
That's
we're trying to.
Yeah. I think it's quite a hard question to answer, but I think that's why you've been seeing more of the DJ trying to take some power back in creating our own concepts, our own spaces, where we can do the booking and we can create that environment and we can have rules for our night.
So are you very, very selective of which venue you want to play at also?
Well, you know what, like, for example, just this morning, because Paris, like, I would say like the gigs where you would get the most money from is definitely the fashion, just for the money, just for the money, and in some way, sometimes for the visibility. You can bring visibility and shit, but do you actually also bring value? Like, because I know the value that would bring it to you in terms of like the culture that I'm trying to represent, the people that I'm trying to represent, the thing that I'm about that I want like to express to a crowd, but you would like try to make me switch for the crowd that you are representing, and then like everything is like not as 100% as it should be, and like like this is like where like some power dynamics going, because you know why you're doing this. You're doing this for the money. You're doing this for the visibility. You're doing this for all that, but you also want to express as an artist and to really be sure that you reach the people that you want to reach,
Yeah, it's kind of like the same here in Oslo too, that sometimes or most times the gigs that give you the like a good amount of money can also sometimes go against like your principles. There's a couple of brands that's coming together and trying to create like a boiler room type of vibe, asked me to like do it, but I'm also been like super into creating like visibility around like the situation in Palestine, and I really wanted to say yes to the gig because I know it will pay well, but I feel like then I will go against my own principles, and like trying to find that balance is like, again, I keep talking about the balance, but it's something that's been hard at times, you try, and then if you have a good experience and you find people that understands you, would collaborate again, and if it doesn't work out, then you just find something different.
I feel like I can relate to some of it because I grew up in Africa, Northeast Africa specifically. Been here in Oslo for soon to be 9 years almost. And I remember in the beginnings, there was a lot of like dancehall, Afrobeat, Afro house.
Yeah.
But it's great, but it's not necessarily what I gravitate towards. If I then was booked, I was expected to fit into those kind of modes.
Yes.
And then when you don't do it, it's like, what is this chaotic experimental sound, you know? And then because it was always seen as like exotic or jungle music, which is horrifying, which is it's great genre, but to be like kind of pushed into that, and you can only do this if you're from this space. But what it tells me is that it's not seen as contemporary, whilst there's a lot of innovation in terms of sound coming from the entire continent, but people are not necessarily open to it, and if you intervene, it's like you're getting in the way, or you get more paid.
But then you're not working with your passion,
exactly.
what you love. So there's gonna be like you are doing it's not the same. So we're not going from the right place. So I would rather say I'm very selective about my gigs. So I say a lot of no because I don't want to like play something that is not me or no. It's not gonna happen. So I'd rather go there and do my thing. Either you love it or you don't love it.
I feel like in the long run, it's so much more rewarding because like you never know how culture switch. For example, I'm a piano, for example, like 10 years ago, like nobody would like fuck with a piano like that. Now, like they will always like want to listen that like in the club, and I'm like, sometimes you don't know, it's not in your power like to actually switch the curve of the culture, but when the culture is switching, you who always has been like super authentic in the thing that you love, etc. People will be like, oh, but who was doing that like since like forever? Oh, you. So at that moment, like all the money we get, you know what I mean? All the money, all the intention, all the visibility, it will get to you because like you were about that, you know?
Those genres, I feel like always come through via, like for example, Kuduro became very popular after, like via Lisbon. Club music comes from Durban was like cool after London has kind of said it was, it's always like via another Western country so that it becomes more digestible.
And it's fun to see. Because you've been there, you're president, and you see like, oh yeah, you're into it now, right? Didn't you like it's like watching history. It's like, okay.
I also think it's your job to introduce those genres to the audience. Like you guys are planting small seeds into them, and then the seeds will eventually grow to be a plant, and that's when it becomes mainstream.
That's beautiful.
Very poetic.
Sometimes by that time we've already moved.
That's true. Doing it, and then we'll be a forest. I don't know.
No, it's true.
Both of you have worked in the music industry.
I said but I think being a creative person and also working in a regulated industry that is a part of music, I think it contradicts each other. And you being a person who thinks in so many aspects and levels are forced to diminish some of your values or some of your ambitions. So I think it's also important to, as with Nora, like I went into this industry wanting to learn more and see if there's something of the knowledge I can bring back to my community, to our wish to world build being there, being a sponge,
Yeah.
and see how we can implement that
Yeah.
in our space.
Yeah, and I think also it's very important to be in these spaces where you're not necessarily welcome, just so you can like take what you want to take and bring it back to where you wanted to bring it back to. Your 9-to-5 job is completely different from my 9-to-5 job. How do you guys balance that life? Like your physical health and mental health, especially you two traveling so much.
You have to learn how to say no,
Yes.
which is really hard. Like if you grew up in certain environment and you were like maybe like a people pleaser. I felt like when I was a kid and even up until very like recently, I was like a people pleaser. And it's something that I really like learned last year because I pushed myself too much. And my hormone doctor was like, you are actually exhausted, so you need to like kind of like pace yourself and do the stuff that you really want to do. Like I'm also a vessel, and my body is my my tool to work. It's really hard to balance, but it's all about being honest with yourself.
It's cool like to have like the opportunity like to do this job in such a fun setting, but the thing is like if you're partying at the same time all the time, your energy get run out. Like your actual like
also spiritually, to be standing behind a booth and be perceived and you see like 500 faces a night, like you need to prepare your mental spiritual being for all of that.
And coming from like a socio-economical background where you feel like I went into art. My parents came here from war and they gave me all opportunity to live another way, but art was calling to me.
Exactly.
So, can I say no? Because I already have, as a Black woman, I need to perform 10 times better already, just generally, any people of color. I know that I need to be
excellent,
like
because it's like our parents didn't envision that for us.
Right.
So if you do it, you need to have financial stability.
Yep.
And you need to be on the big stage so they can be like, okay,
Serious.
I see you.
Yeah.
Okay.
We don't have that much time, so I'm just gonna go straight to back to back, actually.
Where you have the most fun. Like
But can you tell me what back to back is?
It's basically when like 2, 3 or several DJs just like playing back to back as like introducing 1 track, 2 tracks.
It's like a it's like a dialogue, but it can also feel erotic sometimes.
Oh wow.
Because my boyfriend was like a back to back. Like, because he's not a DJ and he doesn't necessarily come from the electronic music world, although now he's more like familiar and open to it. But it was like a back-to-back feels sexy.
Yeah.
It's not like a noob. It's like it feels sexy. It's like, like.
I mean, like also like when like the chemistry is matching, like it's so fulfilling.
That's basically what he's
like it's really like you don't know where you're going with the back-to-back. It's really like you totally improvise.
Because the plan thing we talked about earlier, we have to plan our sets. You have to forget about it when it's back to back. It's very intuitive. It's very playful. You have to like be there 100%. So it's actually quite giving, and that's where also I have a lot of fun when I play back to back.